All right, welcome to my LinkedIn Raw series. This is a YouTube series where I break down all of my systems, all the way I'm using LinkedIn to build my personal brand, my business, my newsletter, my content, you name it. It's all raw, it's unedited clips and videos of my systems that I'm using to build a profitable business. So in this first video, we're gonna be breaking down the proven systems that I'm using in 2025 to create viral content on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn content and organic content in general is the #1 way to grow your personal brands and business on the platform, which has over 1 billion users worldwide. So throughout this video and this training, I'm going to be using Supergrow, which is a third-party software that I use for scheduling content, my daily engagement, my analytics, and everything else on LinkedIn. So just so you know, in the description of this video, you're gonna have access to this Google document, which will have all of my links, all the examples, and all the content here, which you can go through again. You're also gonna get an invite to my private community in the description of this video. It's the best time to join, so make sure you go through all that after you watch this raw video. All right, so the first thing I wanna talk about is writing scroll stopping hooks. So your LinkedIn posts consistently need to be starting with a strong scroll stopping hook. That's going to be the first part of your post. So you typically only have a few seconds to pull readers into your content, which is why a hook is so crucial to get started. So I want to start this part of the video by showing you a few examples of strong hooks that I've actually created recently. So let me just show you a couple LinkedIn posts that I've posted over on my page and why these hooks have actually performed well. So just to show you the first example, LinkedIn creators are seeing massive growth on the platform right now, and here's why. So the reason why this performed so well is, first of all, I'm targeting a very specific person. That's number one. Who are you targeting? That's the person. What kind of audience are you going to be targeting here? So I'm targeting LinkedIn creators. So my ICP is going to be LinkedIn creators, business owners, founders, maybe running like a solo business. That's going to be who I'm targeting in this post. Then we're also going to say are seeing massive growth on the platform right now. So all the creators that I see on LinkedIn are posting pretty bad content. They're not getting good results. So they're sad. Sad. No good results from their content, right? And now I'm going to say, okay, so here's why they're seeing massive growth. So if you're a LinkedIn creator, if you're a business owner, solopreneur, whatever it is on LinkedIn, you see this post and you realize that, okay, so they're seeing massive growth, but I'm not. Why am I not seeing massive growth, right? So you're going to be entitled to say, okay, what else does this post have to offer? Is he showing his full system for this? And I say, here's why. So I'm basically telling you, if you stay for the next few minutes, if you go through this post, you're going to get the exact system I'm using to create content and get massive growth on the platform. And then of course, I dropped my system here in this post. Worked really well. It was very actionable and people loved it. Okay, so moving on to the second post here. The second post is also very, very good. This post says, anyone who says internet money isn't simple to make is 100% lying to you. And the reason why I use this post is it makes it sound like it's easy to create content and make money. It's not, but it is simple when you have a proven system for it. So I'm basically hinting towards a opinion that I have that a lot of people probably don't have the same opinion. So it's kind of triggering some emotions here, right? And I'm also doing the same thing with the brackets. Here's why. Adding these brackets to any of your hooks are really, really profitable here. And just in a second, later in this video, I'm going to show you the 2 different types of hooks that I use that I would 100% recommend adding to your strategy, as it's really, really helpful to create those scroll stopping hooks with these methods. So this post, I'm just saying anyone who says internet money, which is what people are trying to accomplish for my ICP. If you're a founder, if you're a content creator like me, we're trying to make money. So that's going to be the reason why this hook is going to work so well. I'm also triggering some emotions here with the isn't simple to make. And I say it's simple, not easy. Okay, so those 2 posts did really well. And then of course, the last post here is going to be the third one. And just so you know, if you want to get tons more examples, just go to my LinkedIn profile and you're going to get thousands of hooks that I've written. I've written so many posts. They're all proven formats. I actually create a post tomorrow that's going to be live. And that's going to go over my exact hook strategy, which you can get that as well. It's going to be a carousel format on, let's see, we've got June 28th. Okay, so this last example I have for you is if I were to start selling on LinkedIn for the first time right now today, here's how I would do it, the full breakdown. So first of all, just saying full breakdown alone, people are going to be like, oh, he's giving away his full system here. This is going to be a really good post. And then I say, if I were to start selling on LinkedIn for the first time today, so I'm basically targeting anyone who's starting LinkedIn from scratch today. If they're, let's say, their first time creator, they posted only like a week's worth of content. Maybe they haven't even posted a single piece of content yet because they're still trying to figure out what to post. this is going to be a perfect hook for them. It's targeting the exact type of people that are starting on LinkedIn for the first time. So they see, okay, I'm an expert. I've already been posting content for years. I have thousands of posts. I've helped hundreds of customers and clients build their personal brands, build their businesses on LinkedIn. So I have that authority. And I'm going to show you exactly what I would do. So if I'm in their shoes, I'm going to show you what I would do if I was them to start selling on LinkedIn and creating their content. So that's why this one hit so well. And I also have my full breakdown and strategy there. So that one worked really well. I would recommend is, I'll show you this in a second, but just be relatable and be straight to the point in your hooks. So let me put my cap back on, not trying to drop my red pen. Okay, so first, you should note that making them personalized, your hooks, will perform 100 times better than using just a generic hook. You're gonna wanna use words like I and my. That's gonna showcase that the post is about your journey, your systems, or breaking down, and it just depends on the post. So a couple examples would be like, here's my exact system for, this is what I use. If you use words like this, we'll do something like the following. Here's how and you can say something like made XYZ in XYZ time frame. So this hook right here is a perfect personalized hook. We could say something like, here's how I made $10,000 through client sales in 3 months. And you can say something like, in brackets, here's how. Here's how in brackets. And of course, add those colons. The colons are showcase, okay, so there's more into the post to actually read on versus just what you have right here. So use those colons, use those brackets, and that's gonna help really well. So the length of your hook should not exceed the first 3 lines of the post. I like to write 2 types of post. So let me just show you guys the first one, which is a 2-line scroll stopper. I'm gonna visually show you here on my whiteboard. This one is good. So this first post is a 2-liner, right? So the thing about these 2-liners is both these 1-liners are going to be less than 50 characters. So we got 2 1-lines. 50. 50. So you've got 1-liner, white space, 1-liner. Both of these need to be less than 50 characters. The reason why you want them less than 50 characters is because on mobile devices, you're not going to be able to see the full line on one line if you exceed that 50 character mark. So you can only see the first 3 lines, which is 50, 50, 50. That's 150 characters minus that white space on a mobile device before you have to see the see more. It's the exact same thing on desktop. So what I recommend is do 50, hit enter twice, get that white space, add 50 again. The second line is going to be where you add like the bracket, add the colon. That's kind of where you hint the audience towards what's going to be inside this post. Now, the next post type of hook is going to be the 1-liner with brackets. So this one is typically the one I've been using the most. And that's just something like this. Anyone who says internet money, this one I showed you, isn't simple to make, is 100% lying to you. Here's why. So this one looks more like this. Instead of having those 2 1-liners, you've just got 1 hook, 1 line, 100 characters. Now, this one's obviously double the length of the other one, but it's only on 1 line. It's going to drop down to the second line here. So you're going to actually on your device, it's going to look like this. And then the see more right here. You're going to have 2 lines, see more, and that's all you're going to see for the hook. That's why it works so well. And you're going to, of course, add like your brackets and your colon. So you either have 1, you have a hook with 100 characters, or 2, you have 2 lines with 50 characters each. Best types of hooks you can have in terms of the visual appeal on LinkedIn, especially on the mobile devices, which is where a lot of people are going to be viewing your content, especially in the morning when people wake up. If you're posting at 7 a.m., I promise you a lot of people are not on their computer yet. They're probably scrolling their phone. They've got their cup of coffee in the morning. So I'd recommend using as much as you can to optimize for mobile devices. Okay, now for the 2-line hook, I'm going to just repeat this again. Each line should stay below 35 to 50 characters. This is ideal for mobile devices, et cetera, et cetera. And the second hook's going to end with that parentheses, of course, with the colon too. Okay, so to write a scroll stopping hook, here's where your focus should be. Number 1, make readers curious. Something like, I couldn't believe when this happened. Start with a controversial topic, one of my favorites. You might hate me for this, but I did XYZ. Showcase numbers and results. This strategy got my new client XYZ results. It could be something like, this new framework that I made got my new client 10,000 sales in just 2 weeks, and here's how I did it, or here's how I built it, or here's a full breakdown of it, something like that. And then give out your personal strategies. Here's how I grew my following to 30,000 in just 1 year, 6 months, 12 months, whatever it is. But showcase your ideas, use my, and just showcase results. The more numbers you have in your hooks, the better it's going to perform. So do not sleep on that. And the more you focus on hinting towards what's actually inside your post without clickbaiting, the better your post will perform. The one thing I will say that I see a lot on LinkedIn these days is a lot of clickbaiting. If you throw around numbers, crazy numbers, like I made, let's say I saw something on my timeline the other day. It was something like, oh, I made $2 million in 2 months and here's how I did it. But he's posting like this really crappy content. I can look at his systems. I'm looking at his business. There's no way he's making $2 million. And if he is, awesome, but it just doesn't look believable based on the trust he's actually built. So the thing is, if you want to use numbers, if you want to create hooks like this, do not use clickbait just to get people to click on your post. It's the easiest way to lose trust, to lose authority, especially in your industry. And the second your first impression is lost from people, they don't like you, they think you're lying, they think you're just one of those gurus, they're never going to look at your content again. They're not going to trust you when it comes to your paid offers, and they're not going to buy into whatever you have. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so the next part of this post is going to be clear writing is better than clever writing. Be clear, not clever. My biggest recommendation when focusing on writing, clear versus clever, content is your chosen formatting. 99% of people online will skim your post, especially if they're new to your content. So use this to your advantage. And I call this the 1 to 3 to 1 formatting. It's gonna look something like this. Let's go ahead and erase this. The 1-3-1 formatting is something I've been using for, I can't even remember, it's been years, but it looks like this. You've got one liner. Then you've got some white space. 3 lines. 2, 3, some white space, one liner. Typically these 3 lines right here can be something like bullet points. They can be numbered list, but it's going to look like this. 1 line, 3 lines, 1 line. And you can see visually on the screen to my right here, you've got, this is the 1 line. Then you've got writing on LinkedIn is easy. Once you've practiced enough and build a proven system, this is the last line. So you've got 1, 3, 1. That's going to be the easiest visually to read for your audience. It's easy to skim through. There's lots of white space. If you're not using white space in your content, it's going to be very hard for your audience to actually get through it. So you try to use more white space as much as you can. Use those number lists and use those bullet points. So this writing method makes it easy for your readers to skim through your post instead of reading a massive paragraph. We don't like massive paragraphs. No one likes to read a massive text box when they first wake up online. So make it easy for them to get through it. For your one-liners, make sure they're less than 35 to 50 characters, somewhere around there. And if you are using Supergrow, that's the software that I've been talking about, the mobile and desktop view makes it extremely easy to visualize. So if you're using a third-party software, they typically have like a little icon which shows like a mobile device, a desktop device, and you can basically just see what that post will look like once it's actually published. The following writing hack utilizes numbered lists and bullet points as much as possible. So like I said, use numbered lists, use those bullet points. I typically do it around 1 to 3 times in every single post, and it makes it easy for an audience to get from point A to point B extremely fast. And just here's another example. Here's what I'd recommend. The 1, 2, 3 numbered list. You can do this also for bullet points. And then of course 3 here. The one thing I will recommend is it doesn't always have to be 1, 3 to 1. It could be something like 1, 5, 1, 1, 10, 1, 1, 2, 1. The thing about the middle part here is it's just a way to get people to skim through some sort of list or some sort of action that you have for your audience. But make sure that the one before, the one after are 1 lines. But in between, you don't have to just set it for 3. It can be a 1, 5, 1. It can be a 1, 10, 1. I've done a 1, 21 before where I'm just doing 1. It's like a system that I break down like 20 numbered list and then 1 after that. So it doesn't really matter how many are in the middle. Just make sure it's a numbered list of bullet points. And each line is less than 50 characters. That's the biggest thing there. Okay, so let's go ahead and show you the next part, which is how I actually structure my content here. Now, this is something I've been testing recently, and it's really worked well. It's probably something that you haven't really seen too much on LinkedIn or online in general. These systems that I have here are also going to work on other platforms too. Maybe not as specific, but they are going to help for content in general. But this is something I've been testing out, and I don't really see too many creators doing it. So your post obviously is going to start with the hook. Once you've got that hook, you're going to use the 2 lines or the 1 line that I've showed you. You've got the hook down, and this is how you're going to create a scroll stopping hook here. You're capturing attention. You're going to make people stop scrolling and go through your posts using a personalized hook, hopefully. And then after that, I guess I can show you this too. You're supposed to be attracting, creating curiosity, and pulling in your readers. I like to attract. I never like to, attack my readers. So I want to attract them. I want to create curiosity, basically showing them, hey, like you can get my full breakdown if you keep reading, right? So that's going to be where the curiosity comes from. And then for the creating the emotion, let me move this a tiny bit. Okay, so for creating the emotion, that's going to be in the post body, which is right below it. Body. In your body, you're creating emotion, you're being relatable, and you're showing that problem solution awareness. Most of your readers don't even know what kind of problem they have. So if you're trying to sell some sort of product or service, if you're trying to hint towards a specific problem or a struggle your audience has, make sure they know that they have that problem. So showcase and tell them that they have that problem, show them why they have that problem, and then show them, okay, if they don't solve this problem, X, Y, Z is going to happen to them. But if they do solve that problem, X, Y, Z is going to happen to them. Make sure you show them that problem solution awareness and be relatable. Here's a thing that I've started to test and it actually works a lot better than just doing post body CTA. So normally you would just have your CTA down here now. Okay, so we got your CTA here. Instead of doing that, let's try and change this up a little bit. So hook body for your CTA, what I want you to start doing is put it around 90% or about 85% through your post. That's where you're gonna start putting your hook. So instead of just doing, okay, you got your hook here, your body here, your CTA here, try to add your CTAs about right here, about 80 to 85% through your post, maybe like 90%, add it here. And you can say something like, follow me for more systems, or before you read on to like the 7th framework or the last bit of the post, do this, do X, Y, Z. And that way they're not reading through the whole thing and then just ignoring the CTA. If they still want to get through the full post, add that CTA before you get to the end of the post, before you get to finishing your full statement, your full framework. That way they can see what the CTA is before they're done the post. And the reason why this works so well is when people are going through my framework, if I have a 10-step framework and I drop my CTA at number 7, if they've already got tons of value from those first 6 or 7 frameworks that I have, they're going to want to keep reading. And if I say something like, if this is helping you so far, make sure to sign up for my free newsletter or get my free lead magnet or join my community, they're more likely to do that versus doing it at the end of the post when they don't actually think they've gotten a lot of value out of it yet because they're already done. But if they're still going through it and if they're still reading it, it probably means that they're getting some value out of it. So try to add your CTAs around 89% way through your post, not at the very end. You can obviously just keep testing to see what's working, what's not. But that's going to be one of the strategies that I think I've recently started doing that works really, really well compared to just dropping a PS or just a random CTA at the end of your post. Now, the next part is writing call to actions that convert, like we were just saying. So at the end of each post on LinkedIn, this is where the actual conversions happen. You want more followers? Do you want to build your email list? Do you want to sell your new offer that you have? Your CTA can do all of these things for you. A CTA or call to action will tell your readers what you want from them. And if you leave a post with no CTA, your audience is left with absolutely nothing, which provides them with 0 ways to get into your sales funnel or just your funnel in general. So let me show you guys 3 of the recent CTAs that I've used, just for an example. This first one is going to be this. At the very bottom of the post, I say, I've broken down my revenue streams to help you build a profitable business in 2025. You can get the link here. So this is a CTA to go and watch my new YouTube video. Now, remember, this isn't at the end of my post. This is not what I just told you. It's because this is really old content, but this is just some examples here. So the first one's going to be a YouTube promo. The second hook that I use sometimes is going to be something like a waitlist for my accelerator program, which is the one I use right here. P.S. My premium private community is launched underway, and I'd love to have you join the waitlist. I'll drop a link in the comments to join the VIP early access waitlist. If you add links to your post, LinkedIn says, hey, you're trying to send users away from my platform. I don't want that. I'm going to make sure your post doesn't do well. So add links to the comments of your post. Do something like comment the word system, and I'll send it to you. Do something like that. Try to avoid having external links in your content. And the last one's going to be very similar to that one. It's also going to be a waitlist jump, which is going to be repost this to get a chance to win free access when my private community launches in the next 48 hours. And just ask a simple question. Okay, now every post you create should have one single purpose. Never use multiple CTAs in a post. This is very important. You're going to confuse your audience. So here are a few examples of CTAs you can use, 1 per post. Do not forget that. First is going to be subscribe to a free newsletter, obtain those emails. The second is download a free lead magnet. Again, obtain emails. book a one-on-one consulting call or a coaching call. You can find prospects for your high ticket offers. Join a waitlist. This is going to be to obtain emails, and then follow me for more content. That's going to be to grow your following. Now, my breakdown for CTAs is going to look something like this. The percentage of what CTAs I use for how much content. The first is going to be obtaining email CTAs. It's about 50% of my CTAs and my content is going to be based on obtaining emails. And then 20% of my CTAs and content is going to be to grow my following, to grow authority on the platform. Another 20% is going to be to book one-on-one calls for my content agency or even my private community. And then of course, just 10% to just directly promote my paid offers. That's going to be the breakdown. Sometimes I change this up, but normally this is the schedule that I use every single week and every single month when I'm posting content. And since most of my selling does happen through my newsletter and through my email content, I do spend most of my time obtaining emails through lead magnets, through waitlists, and other free resources. So I would recommend highly to start a newsletter, start an email list, start sending out emails to your audience and build that list so you can actually own your audience versus just having a rented audience through a following. The second you get banned on LinkedIn, your entire audience is gone. If you don't have an email list, you have no way to contact them and you're done for. Let's go to the next part now is going to be the last part of this raw video. Analyze post performance to write better content. I do this all the time. It works really, really well. Trust me. The final step in creating viral content on LinkedIn is to go through the post you've already created on the platform using Supergrow, which is that third-party tool I talked about. You can go through and manage all your past content. Did a post perform poorly? Rework the hook and the CTA. And if it performed well, you can repurpose the post. You take advantage of your post analytics, see what's working well for your audience, continue doing those specific strategies, find what's not working well and adjust accordingly. And if something in your content strategy isn't working, never do nothing. I see a lot of founders who will, they see an issue with their content. They see that their posts aren't performing well. They're not getting leads. Their outbound's not working, but they say, oh, I'll just figure it out next week, or I'll wait for it to fix. I think I'm just not doing it properly. That never works. You need to actually make adjustments, make changes. Most founders and content creators are scared to make change because it honestly can be really scary. You think, oh, I make this change and it could completely screw up my business or completely screw up my content, right? So you don't want to make changes that are going to hurt you, but you definitely want to make changes as much as you can. And that's going to be my basic raw system to create better content that actually converts on the platform and just online in general. If you guys want more, make sure you can go to the description of this video, get this Google document, and just go through this, study, and make sure you know everything in terms of the hooks, the CTAs, the body, and actually the formatting of your posts. And also, you're going to find a link to my private community. Highly recommend getting into there. You get all my systems. You can go ahead, once you join, you can schedule a one-on-one call with me. We're going to audit your content, your profile. We'll get everything started for you so you're ready to go. And then you can start obtaining all the video courses and all the video content I have for you there. All right, I will see you in the next LinkedIn Raw video. This YouTube series is going to be a fun one, so stick along and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.